You're listening to School Counseling Simplified, a podcast with easy-to-implement strategies for busy school counselors. Here's your host, Rachel Davis from Bright Futures Counseling.
One thing counselors always ask me is how the heck are they supposed to squeeze it all in? Between individual sessions, planning small groups, class lessons, parent meetings, duty, non-counselor tasks, prepping and planning for sessions, all the things. It can be overwhelming, but I've figured out a way that you can streamline your daily schedule so you can impact more students and get the recognition you deserve. Now you may be thinking, that sounds kind of familiar. Well, that's because it's Module 1 of my Stress-Free School Counseling course. Now, of course, you can join my Stress-Free School Counseling course at any time, but I'm doing a very special promo during July. I am giving all of my Impact members access to Stress-Free School Counseling for absolutely free. We're going to work through the course together, almost like a book club. That way we can get prepared and feel excited and invigorated for back to school season. Now, you may be thinking, well, wait, I'm not an Impact member. No worries. I would love for you to totally join us. If you join Impact during the month of July, you get access to Stress-Free School Counseling for absolutely free. But again, this offer is only valid during the month of July. For $29 a month, you get access to Impact, which includes all of my counseling resources. Yep, every single one, plus PD and an engaged community. And if you join in July, you're getting SFSC too. Awesome, guys. I hope to see you inside Impact so we can work on Stress-Free School Counseling. To get all the details and sign up, go to stressfreeschoolcounseling.com/July. You're listening to another episode of School Counseling Simplified. So guys, happy July. I can't believe it. It's already here. I hope you're having a wonderful summer, getting all of the rest and relaxation that you totally deserve. Or if you're like me, you're traveling with your kids and it's not a vacation, it's just childcare in another part of the world. I'm just kidding. I saw a meme like that somewhere and I was like, that's actually true. It's not relaxing, but it is rewarding. And I just love traveling, even with my little guys. So today I want to talk to you about 4 things you should schedule, okay? So last week we talked about a time audit. If you haven't listened to that episode, I encourage you to go back and do so. But this is one, I get asked about all the time. And like I said, I mentioned earlier about the promo we're doing. If you join Impact in July, you get access to my Stress-Free School Counseling course. And the reason I'm doing that is because my Impact members, we meet twice a month and we have Q&A. And a lot of times people are asking me scheduling questions. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is such a need. So I'm so passionate about this. It sounds kind of boring, but I just love it. I'm fired up about it. So let's talk about 4 things that you should be putting on your schedule. Now, the first one is buffers. So what is a buffer? A buffer is a little amount of time that you're going to put before and after sessions. That way you don't have to stress. So basically, if you have a class lesson and then you have a small group, I used to book these things. You could have seen my calendar. It'd be like 9:30 to 10, class lesson, 10 to 10:30, small group, 10:30 to 11, individual session, 11 to 11:30, parent meeting. It's like, whoa, when am I going to pee or take a snack break or I don't know, anything, right? Because think about it. How often are you walking down the hallway and a teacher stops you and they want to ask something? Or how often does a crisis occur? We talked a little bit about this last week. Or, how often do you just, need a little break? Maybe you had a really tough case or like you heard some really horrible news, from one of your kiddos and you just need to process and to chill for a second. So do yourself a favor and schedule in these buffers. Now, this is like 10 minutes before and after each session. Something else you can do during this time is get caught up on your counseling log. Now, I know a lot of people are like, I want to do a counseling log, but then I end up sitting down at the end of the day. I'm ready to go home, and I'm there after contract hours, like filling in what I did all day, and I can't even remember. So to avoid that, have your counseling log open. I have a great template for this. I'll link to it in the show notes. But you can sit there and then just do a note down of what you did with that student while it's fresh on your brain. But not while you have someone in your office and you're like, hold on one second, and you're at your computer. You can also take a little minute to print and prep. Maybe you need to print out something for your group. Head to the office and do that. And then, you'll likely run into someone and start a conversation. You know how it goes. But that's why you should schedule in buffers. Another thing buffers help with is travel time. So if you've got the little guys, you probably have to go pick them up from their classes. So that could take a while. You go to pick them up. They're slow walkers. They have little legs, things like that. Or if you're waiting for the students to come to you, maybe they're kind of dilly-dallying on their way and they stop at the bathroom and you're not really getting started exactly when your planned session time is. So those are the reasons that you should schedule in buffers. These will save you a lot of time and a lot of stress. Now, what about communication? Batch your communication. Now, you may be thinking, batch communication, what does that mean? Well, I just love batching. Batching is when you do a similar task all at once while it's on your brain, because switching through tasks can be really difficult. So I love to batch communication. Batching email specifically is one. So I used to have my email inbox open in a tab all day, and you see those little notifications, and all day you're in and out of your inbox, right? Like, you check your email in the morning, but then you ask some people stuff, and then you get a reply, and then you're like, oh, I gotta add that to my calendar. Sometimes it's an action item, right? Like, it's not like you just get through your inbox and reply to emails. There's usually action items related, like, can you do this? You need to prep this. So what I started doing, and what I recommend counselors do, is to have an email time literally on your calendar. In the morning, great time. In the afternoon, great time. Start and close the day. One midday check at lunch is good too, and that is it. You can even eliminate the midday check if you want to. So you sit down at your inbox, answer them all, do your action items, and then you don't look at it again until your next email batching time. Now, this will help you so much. It will save you so much time, because sometimes you get in there and you could stay in there forever, right? So this is something that it's hard to do, but I encourage you to do. I also encourage you to take the email app off of your phone, your work email at least. That way it's not haunting you on nights and weekends. And you can even put up a little auto reminder like, I'll be responding to emails between the hours of 2 and 3 p.m. or whatever. That way people don't think you're ignoring them. This shows that you're responsive, but you're also setting that boundary. That's so important. Same thing with phone calls. If you have to make any parent phone calls, do them, on a designated part of the day. If a parent calls you outside of that time, have an automated voice message set up. I'll be returning calls during this time. This way you can actually spend more time helping students and less time in these administrative tasks. If you can even schedule your meetings this way, that would be awesome. I know it's tricky because other people are involved in meetings, but if you're like, I'm only good to meet between these hours, and you set that boundary, that would be pretty awesome. Now, that's buffers in communication. Let's talk about a planning period. I said it. I know you guys probably are not doing this, or probably don't think you deserve one, or probably feel weird about just setting aside time to plan when you could be helping students, but you're going to be able to help your students better if you are planned and prepared for them. So, teachers get a planning period. Why shouldn't counselors? Set aside a time, and I don't mean your lunch break, but a designated time for you to plan and prep. So maybe you need to print out things for your groups. Maybe you need to get out your scissors and cut something up, some little discussion cards, or laminate something. Maybe you need to update your counseling log. Maybe you need to track some data and input, some graphs or something. Whatever you have to do, I'm sure you have plenty to plan, but a designated planning period can go a long way. Daily would be awesome. You can have like a daily prep, like 10 or 15 minutes just to prep for the day in terms of printing and stuff, but then maybe once a week, like a bigger chunk for those big picture projects to plan. Because think about it, if you're planning like a career fair or something, that's going to take a lot of time and energy, and you need to do that during your contract hours. And the last thing I think you should schedule are reoccurring sessions. So this is kind of the no-brainer, but those are your class lessons, your small groups, and your individual sessions. And I apologize, y'all. It sounds like someone's hammering right on my head. They've been doing construction in our building forever. But reoccurring sessions. So I like to start from the things that affect the most people to the things that affect the least amount of people. So for example, class lessons, a lot of moving parts here. You've got the teachers, multiple teachers, different times. If you're in like a specials rotation, you probably don't have to worry about this. But if you're scheduling your own class lessons, this can be time consuming and a big deal. So what I like to do is I like to set up a Google Sheet, and then I put available times that I'm available, and I let teachers sign up for their ideal class lesson time. So they'll say, okay, I want Tuesdays at 11. Then I go in on Google Calendar and I create a reoccurring invitation, okay, once a month, first Tuesday of the month at 11 with their name on it. they can accept it, and then that way we both get these digital reminders. Then it's not, the back and forth email yo-yo every month of like, hey, when's a good time to come to your class? Oh, actually, that doesn't work for us, blah, blah, blah. So go ahead, batch plan them for the whole year. Now, of course, some months there might be spring break or a holiday, and you might need to rearrange. And of course, things will come up that they don't know about now. If you do all this in August, maybe in February, they're like, oh, we have a field trip I didn't know about way back then. No biggie, you can change things on an as-needed basis, but getting these out of the way and on your schedule is such a relief. Then you can look at your schedule, and again, I love color coding, so I encourage you to do, green for class lessons. So you can look at your schedule and visually see, how many I have per day just by looking at the green things. And then that's going to take up a big chunk, right? If you're going to every class once a month, I know some of you even do twice a month, so that's going to take up a big chunk of your calendar. Then you're going to do the thing that involves the next most amount of people, which would be small groups, because you're coordinating with different teachers. So you're going to schedule your small groups. So these will be referral based, but let's say you're collecting referrals and you're like, I have 5 kids recommended for this friendship group. I'm going to talk to their teachers, figure out the best time to meet, and then try to find overlap that benefits all the teachers. Same thing, schedule those reoccurring 6 to 8 week sessions on the calendar. It's set, non-negotiable. Your group's meeting those weeks at that time. So, it doesn't matter. Like I've mentioned last week, if you didn't listen to that episode, I encourage you to go back and do so, because I was talking about a crisis response team, and it's like you're on call certain times, but during that class lesson or during that small group, that is not a time that you're on call. So you're going to be there for those kiddos, and that consistency is so important. And then lastly, those individual sessions. These are the easiest to schedule because you only have to consider one other person, right? You're only communicating with one teacher. Hey, when's the best time for me to see so-and-so? And then say, awesome, we're going to do that time once a week for 30 minutes for 6 weeks. And just go ahead and schedule it. Again, I said class lessons could be green. Maybe your groups are blue. Maybe your individuals are pink or something. And you look on your calendar and you can just see visually at a glance. You sit down today and you're like, just by looking at the colors, I got 2 lessons, 2 groups, and 1 individual. So it's just kind of a good idea to help you get prepared. So those are the 4 things that you should add to your schedule: buffers, communication, planning period, and reoccurring sessions. Awesome, guys. I hope you find this super duper helpful. Again, everything I'm sharing with you on the podcast this month is all about scheduling, which is just like scraping the surface of Module 1 of my Stress-Free School Counseling course, which Module 1 is all about scheduling, but the course also talks about data collection, organization, advocating for your role, handling pushback, all kinds of things. Super comprehensive. And yes, you can get it a la carte, but I'm really encouraging you to join Impact this month, because Impact is just awesome, and I would love to have you over there. But Impact members are getting SFSC included if you sign up in July only, and we can work through it together. It's going to be really awesome. So thank you so much. We are already doing fun stuff with it, so I encourage you to join us over there, and I'll talk to you next week.
Thanks for listening to School Counseling Simplified. You can find the links from today's episode in the show notes. If you'd like to connect with Rachel, she's on Instagram and Teachers Pay Teachers at Bright Futures Counseling. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss any episodes of School Counseling Simplified. Talk to you next week.